Most people will never be great, not because they lack talent, not because the world was against them, not because they were unlucky. They will never be great because they never decided to be. They confused movement with progress, comfort with safety, and busyness with purpose. They lived long lives and died having never once asked the question that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. What does it actually take? Let's answer that completely right now. There is a silence before greatness. Most people are too loud to hear it. They fill every hour with noise, notifications, opinions, other people's urgency, and in doing so, they drown out the one voice that matters, their own. The ancient Greeks called it daimon, your inner genius. The Romans called it genius loci, the spirit of your place and purpose. Every great civilization on Earth independently arrived at the same idea. Inside you is a version of yourself that is extraordinary, and your only job in this life is to become it. That is the first law of greatness. Greatness is not achieved, it is uncovered. You are not building something new, you are excavating something ancient. Like Michelangelo, who said the sculpture already existed inside the marble. He was simply removing everything that was not David. The question is not what you need to add to yourself. The question is what you need to remove. Fear, approval-seeking, distraction, resentment, comparison, comfort. Every great person in history looked like they were building themselves up. What they were actually doing was stripping away everything that wasn't them. So what is greatness? It is not fame. It is not wealth. It is not power. History is filled with famous, wealthy, powerful people who were not great, and filled equally with unknown, poor, powerless people who were. Greatness is the full expression of your highest capacity in service of something beyond yourself. That is the definition. Hold it. Full expression, meaning nothing held back, nothing suppressed, nothing saved for later. Highest capacity, meaning you. Stretched, you suffered, you grew. In service of something beyond yourself, meaning it was not vanity, not ego, not performance. When all three of those conditions are met, greatness is not possible. It is inevitable. Look at Alexander the Great, who wept when he ran out of worlds to conquer. Not because he was weak, but because he understood that without a horizon, the soul collapses. Look at Marie Curie, who died from the radioactivity of her own discoveries, literally consumed by her work. Look at Nikola Tesla, who died alone and broke in a hotel room, having given the entire electrical age to a world that barely remembered his name. Look at Van Gogh, who sold one painting in his entire lifetime. One. And yet today, his work sells for hundreds of millions, because truth has a way of outlasting time. None of them were great because of what they received. They were great because of what they gave. That is the second law. Greatness is measured in output, not outcome. What you produce, what you create, what you leave behind. Not what you collected, not what you were given, not what you were praised for. Now here is the question nobody asks. Why is greatness so rare? Because it requires a transaction most people are unwilling to make. You must trade your comfort for your potential every single day. Comfort is not your enemy in a small way. Comfort is your enemy in the most total, comprehensive, existential way possible. Comfort is the mechanism by which nature keeps the majority of organisms docile and predictable. It is biological. It is evolutionary. Your nervous system is wired to seek safety, to conserve energy, to avoid the pain of growth. And for 200,000 years, that kept humans alive. But now, in a world where survival is almost guaranteed, that same mechanism is keeping you mediocre. Every morning you wake up, your body will try to negotiate with you. It will say, stay in bed, it's warm. Eat the easy thing. Avoid the hard conversation. Skip the training. Reply tomorrow. And every time you comply, you are not resting. You are dying. Slowly, softly, pleasantly dying. The great ones felt the same pull. Every single one of them. Kobe Bryant has spoken about the days he didn't want to train. Beethoven wrote in his letters about his despair. Hemingway described the terror of the blank page as an enemy he met every single morning. The difference was not that they didn't feel it. The difference is they went anyway. That is the third law. Discipline is not motivation sustained. Discipline is identity reinforced. When Kobe Bryant woke up at 4 a.m. to train, he was not feeling motivated. He had decided who he was. And that identity made the decision before his feelings could interfere. He was a basketball player. Basketball players train. The decision was already made. This is why motivation is a trap. Motivation asks, do I feel like doing this? Identity asks, is this who I am? Build your identity correctly, and your actions will follow, without requiring daily emotional permission. Now let's talk about time, because most people misunderstand it entirely. You do not lack time, you lack priorities. Every human being on Earth has the same 24 hours, the same 8,160 hours in a year. Einstein had them. Da Vinci had them. You have them. The question is not where your time went. The question is what decision you made with every single hour. Here is a number that will change how you see your life. 168. That is how many hours you have each week. Subtract 56 for sleep, a generous 8 hours a night. You have 112 hours. Subtract 40 for work. You have 72 hours. 72 hours of discretionary time every single week. What are you doing with it? Most people cannot answer that question. And that is precisely why most people are not great. The great ones account for their hours the way a dying man accounts for his final days, with total seriousness, with complete intentionality, not rigidly but consciously. They know what they are doing and why. Every hour is either an investment or a withdrawal. Every hour either moves you toward the person you are becoming or pulls you back toward the person you were. Now, the question this entire video has been building toward: how do you actually do it? First, define your arena. Greatness is always specific. There is no such thing as generally great. You are not trying to be great at everything. You are trying to be great at something. The greatest mistake ambitious people make is spreading themselves across too many domains and achieving depth in none. You must choose. The choice feels like a loss because it is one. Every yes is 1,000 no's. When you commit to being a great writer, you are choosing not to be a great musician, a great surgeon, a great financier. That sacrifice is not a cost of greatness. It is the structure of greatness. Find your arena. Go deep. Go so deep that you reach a level of mastery where you begin to see things others cannot see. That depth is where greatness lives. Second, find your tension. Greatness does not grow in comfort. It grows in the gap between where you are and where you are trying to go. That gap is your tension. You must maintain it. This means always setting goals that are slightly beyond your current capability, not wildly beyond, that produces only despair, slightly beyond, the cognitive. The scientists call this the zone of proximal development. The athletes call it progressive overload. The mystics called it the dark night of the soul. Different vocabularies pointing at the same truth. You must be stretched perpetually. The moment you become comfortable with your current level of performance is the moment your decline begins. Third, build your inputs. Your mind produces what you feed it. This is not metaphor. This is neuroscience. The brain's synaptic pathways are literally shaped by the information you expose yourself to. If you fill your mind with mediocrity, mediocre ideas, mediocre conversations, mediocre content, your mind will produce mediocrity. The great ones were obsessive consumers of the greatest minds that came before them. Newton said he stood on the shoulders of giants. Leonardo da Vinci kept notebooks containing engineering, anatomy, philosophy, music theory, and botany in the same volume because he understood that the greatest insights live at the intersections of disciplines. Read the best books ever written. Spend time with the most ambitious people you can find. Seek out ideas that challenge your assumptions. Your environment is not a backdrop to your greatness. Your environment is its raw material. Fourth, embrace failure as data. Every great achievement in history was preceded by catastrophic failure. Edison failed over 10,000 times before the light bulb worked. He famously said he had not failed. He had found 10,000 ways that did not work. That is not a platitude. That is an epistemological framework. Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is information. It tells you exactly where the gap is between your theory and reality. The person who treats every failure as evidence they should stop will never be great. The person who treats every failure as a narrowing of the gap will be unstoppable. The question after every failure is not, should I continue? The question is, what did this teach me? Fifth, lengthen your time frame. This is perhaps the most powerful and least discussed principle of greatness. The great ones thought in decades. Most people think in days. When your time frame is short, everything feels urgent and nothing feels meaningful. You make decisions based on immediate returns. You quit when progress is slow. You pivot when it gets hard. But when your time frame is long, when you genuinely believe that what you are doing will matter in 10 years, 20 years, a century, your relationship to difficulty changes completely. Temporary setbacks become obviously temporary. Daily fluctuations lose their power over you. You become almost serene in the face of obstacles that destroy others because you can see past them to the horizon. Ask yourself, what am I doing today that will matter in 20 years? If you cannot answer that, you do not yet have a great purpose. Here is what nobody tells you about greatness. It is not a destination, it is a direction. You do not arrive at greatness one morning and unpack your bags. You orient yourself toward it. And every single day you take one step in that direction. Some days the step is enormous, some days the step is barely perceptible, but the direction does not change. This is why the great ones never seem satisfied, never seem finished, never seem to rest in their accomplishments, because they understand that the moment you stop moving toward your highest version, you begin moving away from it. There is no stillness. There is only direction. And here is the deepest truth of all, the one that the philosophical traditions of every era have arrived at independently. The pursuit of greatness is itself the reward, not the fame that might come from it, not the wealth, not the recognition. The pursuit, the daily act of extending yourself beyond what you were yesterday, the knowledge that you are becoming, that is the only experience of meaning that humans have ever found that does not decay. Every pleasure fades, every achievement is eventually forgotten, empires fall, legacies dissolve, but the experience of being fully alive, of burning completely in the direction of your highest purpose, that experience, while it lasts, is the closest thing to transcendence that any human being has ever described. So the final question is not, can you be great? Every human being who has ever lived had that capacity. The question is whether you will pay the price, whether you will make the decision, whether you will endure the discomfort, the doubt, the solitude, the criticism, the slow years before the great years, the failure before the breakthrough, whether when the moment comes, and it will come perhaps tomorrow, perhaps right now, you will choose your highest self over your easiest self. That choice is not made once. It is made every morning when the alarm goes off, every afternoon when you would rather stop, every night when you could rest, but the work is not finished. Every single moment of every single day, you are either becoming great or you are becoming less than you Could be there is no neutral. Start now.